My concept is called live housing. Live housing is not a new concept by any means, but rather a re-rendering and retrofitting of an old concept for new circumstances in a new economic environment. In New York and in all high-density population environments, housing has gotten increasingly out of control, and my idea is to capitalize on two growing housing trends, combining them to create a more suitable housing environment. The idea is to combine micro-housing with co-living, and that people would have much smaller individual unit apartments, roughly 200 to 275 square feet, at the benefit of having large shared spaces and amenities that everyone enjoys. These would be retrofitted specifically to the needs of young professionals and millennials based on broad economic trends and data obtained from interviewing 25 or so people. This is a rough rendering of the way such an establishment would look, with about 25% of total square footage sacrificed to collective amenities. This, of course, has been subject to debate amongst developers and things, but the idea is that any kind of micro unit that streamlines small apartments would benefit the resident and the developer much more so than the sort of contorted tenement houses that people today would live in at this price range. Implementation, so a lot of work went into finding out what exactly people wanted in this kind of environment to make a 200 square foot space livable, and most people just wanted it to not feel like a dorm and not feel like a prison. So you needed soundproofing on the walls, your own bathroom, natural light through Juliet or floor-to-ceiling windows, and basically just the idea of privacy. To capitalize on the amenities, we researched a lot of trends that millennials have that kind of conflict with generations before. Almost everyone I talk to does not cook. They order it on Seamless, even at an enormous expense. Lease flexibility was another facet that was often spoken about, in that people who leave their apartments, we could rent it out to another vetted member or person and have a kind of profit sharing program with them. We would also background check and effectively create a community of individuals who would desire to live together. So basically, as population growth has risen in Manhattan, over 50% of the population is single and growing, but only 4% of the apartments made in the last year were studio apartments. This creates some discordancy for anyone who wants to live alone in a small environment, and it gets even crazier when you take into account that most of the average for new studios is over $3,000 a month. So basically what I did was, there are 5 other somewhat similar concepts like this in the New York area. I visited or spoke to everyone that I could, and the overwhelming resonance was that Crash, Common, and my micro all had overwhelmingly high subscription rates, with Common getting 250 applications to pay $2,000 a month to live in a roughly 250 square foot place in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. Furthermore, out of the people I interviewed, 4 paid over $4,000 for their studio apartments per month. And the reasoning for this was only they wanted to meet new people. They work more hours than ever, and they feel isolated in their buildings. They think this is a means to meet people. Furthermore, the controversy about dorms, almost everyone I talked to who lived in a single dorm actually didn't think of it as a terrible experience, as the people who had to share it with a stranger mostly thought so. To give you an idea of what a 200 square foot apartment would look like, you're probably imagining a kind of gulag. This is basically what you get. It's honestly quite livable and very cost effective, considering that it could be well over $3,000 a month for a new construction studio. Because I couldn't implement fully or build this project in its entirety, most of my implementation and validation was pitching and working with real estate brokers, developers, and investors. And what we found was that this would increase the cost per square footage to about almost 20%, increasing the cost of the building for the developer but at the same time providing a lower price than is optional anywhere else in New York real estate for a tenant, other than splitting an older construction environment with several roommates. So my final validation was I met with 2 developers who are actually very interested. One, the chairman of a company called Premier Residential, which has 14 apartment buildings spread out amongst Arizona and Los Angeles. And they offered us on 22 floors, 25,000 square feet, one of their Arizona building, as well as the starting budget to raise the rest as well, to kind of demonstrate the viability of this concept there. They also would help facilitate a construction loan and serve as our real estate partner in terms of actual development, as I don't have experience in real estate development, though my partner does. Another enticing aspect for developers that I didn't think of originally was they all wanted us to come to where their buildings were. And they actually offered surprisingly good deals at that because they thought it would increase the value of the whole area via gentrification. Not to mention increasing the value of the building via price per square footage boosts. Thank you.
Yes. Tell me a bit about the company.
So the company, this is a very good question. It would operate as a management company. We can't raise that much money to own the real estate. So the company would effectively maintain the community, source buyers, design the project, and maintain it.
So in a way, it's like WeShare. If WeShare is a management company, they don't really buy buildings. Did you look at their business model at all?
Yes, very thoroughly.
Yeah, WeWork, I'm sorry.
Well,
WeWork. So what did you find that was encouraging or less encouraging from their business model?
People were willing to pay an obscene valuation, an obscene premium, just to have the people that they want around them. What you really buy is the community. If you compare it to Regus or any of its competitors, you're getting much less square footage. It's a curated community, and that's what people lack in value.
and also particularly kind of cool old buildings that have like the kind of feel that millennials will want.
Exactly.
New York has a law in the books that you cannot build an apartment for less than 400 square foot. And they are making some exceptions for some developments. Are you looking at it as a New York project, or is it something you want to do it across the board in the entire country? Where do you see your footing? Where do you want to start? Where do you want to expand from?
So it's a very good point you raised. And since 1987, you can't average under 400 square feet. But, so the idea would be to do it on the outskirts of New York, in either Jersey City or Brooklyn is lighter on the regulations than Manhattan. There's only one development that's got a waiver in Manhattan. So try to get a waiver in Brooklyn and New York, I think would be optimal. But if not, try to build a minimum viable product either in Arizona or somewhere else where we can cut a reasonable deal.
And what is your projection moving forward? How much money would you need to do this?
So our construction budget that we ran on the 25,000 square foot Arizona space, it's already kind of contorted for this, was about 150 a square foot. So it came to roughly $5 million, which with a construction loan is less. We didn't negotiate the whole loan yet, so we're not sure. But that would be the total cost of the project.
And what's your break-even model? How long do you take to break even on that?
Oh, 5 to 7. The idea for the investors, they break even up over roughly, I think, 8 years for the projections.
Okay.
But for us, it's just a matter of scale. Like just like we work and those kinds of companies, we demonstrated somewhere in Arizona, somewhere more cost effective, and then immediately try it somewhere else by partnering with a developer to increase the value of their building.
And isn't an 8-year break-even a long time?
Yes. Yes,
Is
right.
that a concern?
The reason this strategic investor was so good is that he owns 8 buildings in the immediate area. So if he can bring a younger, gentrified populace to that building, and this is only 2 of, I think, 22 floors, it's a very big building, the value add increase would be enormously significant.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, but rentals usually is a longer period for.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so yeah. All right.
Thank you very much.